Do you feel burnt out? Do you get super frustrated and fried? And do you have a story that you're only capable of so much because of your health? This is a big issue of mine, so I'm going to be sharing the truth about this and what you can kind of do to get yourself out of this a bit. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we get started in just a second, I just want to let you know I'm doing some free breakthrough calls. There's a link pinned in the comment section below. So what a breakthrough call is it's a call where I just kind of help you a bit. So it's a 30-minute call where we get on Zoom. I go over your vision with your life for you, what it is that you're wanting to create, and then kind of where the roadblocks are. And then when we get to the bottom of what's blocking you, I can help you troubleshoot to find some solutions to iron everything out. Anyway, burnout is something that I have dealt with extensively, really since I was a little kid. I mean, it's just freaking stressful being on planet Earth altogether, especially if you're sensitive, if you're spiritual, if you're empathic, if you're any of those things. It's a mess. And some of the things that can happen is we can begin to internalize the difficulty that we have regulating our nervous systems and then develop some stories around it. Like I've developed a story that I'm just unhealthy and unwell. And there's some truth to that. But if we keep that story, then we can keep recreating burnout. So what essentially is burnout? To me, burnout is anytime the body is overtaxed or overwhelmed to the point where it's like you kind of can't do what you're doing anymore. And why does this happen? A lot of times this happens because we don't take time to rest. And some of that is because we're not really given a lot of time to rest. If you're stuck in like a 9 to 5 or 9 to 8 or job, and then you have a family, like it's just really difficult to block out time to rest. But you can add anything if you really set the intention to make it a habit. So even like 10 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, just giving yourself permission to stop, to meditate, to just pass out and lie down and take a nap, to go sit in nature. All of these things can help significantly, little by little. It might not be everything that you want right away. We usually can't solve the whole problem that day, but there's always little things we can do to improve the situation and solve the problem a little bit. And as you do that, it compounds over time. So burnout really comes from us not being able to rest and not giving ourselves permission to rest. Another place that burnout comes from, though, is being so confused with what it is that we want to do. And what I see this happen all the time with clients. It's happened to me. I spent so many years really kind of resisting what it was that I loved. And it's not as if like I could have just done it, because I had a lot of trauma and a lot of fear, and that had to be gone through and released to an extent before I could even actually do what I wanted to do. But the resistance to what we love tends to come from childhood trauma, and it tends to come from not having our needs or desires met as children. And therefore, when our needs and desires aren't met, or we believe we're not worthy of our needs and desires, or we believe they're not possible, we have no motivation. And then what happens is, it's like if you're not running your life, someone else is going to. So if you're not out there doing what you want to do, creating your own story, you're going to be an extra in somebody else's story. And that's usually what happens because of the trauma from childhood, is we just get absorbed into, ideas or paths that we thought were right because that's what our parents wanted for us, or that's what society wanted for us. It comes from some sort of imprint, or because we were too afraid or ashamed because of trauma or whatever reason to really pursue what we wanted to do. So our motivation gets sort of hijacked, and then we start exerting our will in the direction of things that we don't want to do, and we get fried. And then I would start to tell a story that, oh, I have health problems. And I kind of did, but it also is kind of a story, because you will always burn out if you don't enjoy to some extent what you're doing, and especially if you're not growing. So for example, if you have a task that you need to do for somebody else for a job that you don't like, and you're kind of out of energy, and you push, you're going to burn yourself out because there's no growth on the other side of it and there's no joy. Now, if you have a task that you need to do for something that you really like, even if you don't feel like doing it in the moment, and there's growth at the end of it in the direction of what you want to do, a lot of times you won't burn out. You might, if you have really bad health issues. Okay, there's quirks and differentiations and exceptions to every single rule. But what tends to happen is we develop this belief that we're not capable of as much as we think because we're used to spending our energy down pathways that we can't stand and that don't serve us. When you push a little, you never want to push too much. If you have to push too much, that's no good. But if you push just a little in the direction of something that you really like, at the end, usually you'll level up. So you'll end up getting more energy and you'll actually end up healing burnout. And from doing that, and I've noticed that over and over again with my path. Like this weekend, I went on sort of a mastermind retreat. I was freaking exhausted. I had to stay up later than I normally do. I mean, I had jet lag from the plane, and I kept being afraid that I was going to burn myself out, but I kept being kind of intuitively guided to do these things because they're in the direction of what I want to do. And there was connection and support and people that I met along the way, on over the weekend that I got to spend time with. And every kind of push that was sort of prompted by the universe showed me that I actually had more energy than I thought. And the fatigue at one point was so bad one day that I was like falling asleep. But by the end of that night, I felt really good because it was like a nudge toward purpose. It was a nudge toward connection. It was a nudge toward where I want to go. And then I came back. I flew back yesterday and I had a class last night and I was like, it was a performance class. Like, there's no way I'm going to come back, waking up early, having to travel, like fly for it was only 3 hours, 3-hour flight. And then I'm going to get back and have to drive in traffic home for over an hour. And then I have a performance class where I'm performing for 3.5 hours. And I came home and I fell down on the bed and I was burnt out and I did not really want to go. And yet by the end of the class, I felt really good. Why? Because it was all aligned with my purpose. It was all aligned with things that I really want to do. So even though I felt like I didn't want to do it, it was something that does call to me on more of a soul level. And when that happens, you actually get more energy. So the most important thing to understand is, like, where are you pushing yourself? And again, you don't want to push yourself too hard. If you're totally fried and you have adrenal fatigue, you need to rest. But a lot of times we get stuck in this, like, I don't know what to do. So where are you pushing? Are you pushing toward what you want? Are you pushing toward what you don't want? Are you pushing because you're not really pushing, but you're being prompted and sort of pulled by the universe? Are you pushing out of will and force? Are you an extra in someone else's story, or are you moving yourself toward being the creator of your own story? When you start to iron out these questions, you get discernment, because what happens is we tend to just feel like, I'm burnt out in my body, that's no good, I need to stop, and we lump everything together. And then we get confused because we don't know what's what. And that creates massive burnout because you just have the mind running like a crazy, crackhead monkey all the time, just with no answer. And it's like the gears kind of lock inside your body and the circuits blow. So when you can get discernment and clarity on what it is that you want to do, what it is that you love to do, or what direction you're going, and what the differentiation is between burning out in the negative way and leveling up in a positive way, and also making sure that you have the foundation to give yourself permission to really rest when you do need it, it starts to change. And here's another trick you can use. This is based a little bit on human design. Human design is complicated, but one of the main concepts of human design is that you never make decisions from your mind. And I couldn't agree more with that. Everybody has a different strategy and authority, as they call it, but I would recommend, no matter what your strategy and authority is, to listen to your solar plexus and your gut when you're making a decision, and your body, because that really connects you to your body's reserve. So if you have to do something, maybe it's like an extra 3 hour task, even, and it's something that you kind of want to do. Ask your body, feel into it, say like, do I have the energy to do this? And listen to your solar plexus. And you should, if you're connected enough, get like a strong yes or a strong no. This is what I've been doing for a number of years now, and it works wonders. Like, there are so many times where I'm like, I'm burnt out, I can't do this, and I ask in my solar plexus, and I feel into this, like, do I have the energy to do this? And I'll get a strong yes. And that's what I did like last night with the class. It was like I got the message like, go, 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 and I went, and it was great. And I'm still a little tired today, but now I'm making this video and I have energy to do this. So you really want to start listening to your body, not your mind. So if you can just feel into your nervous system a bit, connect to your solar plexus, and ask, like, is this right for me to do? And I know people have jobs, and sometimes the answer is going to be no, and you have to do it anyway because you have to pay the bill. I get those situations. I've been in them plenty of times. I can't give an answer to every single possible situation, and I know there's exceptions. But if you start implementing this regularly, there are going to be plenty of times when you can say no when you need to, and there's going to be plenty of times when you can say yes and it's right for you if you start to ask from this point. Let me know how this goes. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I have a free energy clearing in the description below. Other than that, I'd love to hear, questions, revelations, breakthroughs. Thank you very much. I look forward to next time, and peace.